Welcome to Planet People, a podcast that aims to inspire curiosity and cultivate a deeper connection with the natural world.
We are thrilled to be sharing stories with you that highlight the beauty and importance of protecting our planet's wildlife.
Be sure to follow us on social media and your favorite podcast streaming platform so that you never miss an episode. Hey Planet People, welcome back to an exciting episode. We are filming live today in Coral's backyard.
But we filmed live before with Seth Bizardi Tsosie.
To me, the most magical place in California.
Aw, really?
Lone Pine, California.
It is such a cute little western town.
And even more special is being at the top of Mount Whitney. When we were following Seth up the hill to do this recording session, we really had very little idea of of where he would pick to do a spot. And I knew we could trust him because he's from the area. You always got to listen to the locals. They know the spots.
100%.
And it was just so magical. As soon as we got up there, it felt like we were in Yosemite.
It was so beautiful.
That was the highlight of the season for me.
Well, and
that was
also
my favorite recording location.
Like pure desert for so long that we were driving there, and then we just like shot up, and it's like this beautiful like waterfall oasis. I couldn't believe it. I had no idea that was right there.
It was so stunning. Everything about it felt like we were in Yosemite. All of the natural sounds with the waterfall, the scrub jays. Now we have 2 hummingbirds here too. They're so cute. And it was breathtaking. My favorite recording location for the season.
So nice.
And Seth was a great guest. He shared so much fun and factual and spiritual information with us in different perspectives, and a perspective that we don't have on the show enough.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
It was so refreshing and just really cool to know what a native monitor is, and we'll break that down in this episode. So Seth is a native monitor. You and Seth met on a project a couple years back, and it just really gave us the opportunity to understand what that means in terms of working on construction sites and how it's actually mandated in California, which is so awesome.
That is something we break down in this episode, the difference between being a native monitor, a biologist, biological monitor, and then you have the third piece, which is the archaeologist. So the archaeological monitor that's checking for cultural and historical resources.
Well, I would ask you what the breath of fresh air is, but that relates to this episode, but honestly, it's just the episode itself. And I think afterwards, when you and I were just enjoying the waterfall, so nice.
I will never forget being up there.
Yeah.
At the base of the Mount Whitney portal to do the most intense hike. It's a 14-hour hike, maybe longer. But Mount Whitney is the tallest peak in the lower 48. People come to California just to climb it.
Yeah.
So being cool. Right there, that's my breath of fresh air.
It was so nice.
Yeah.
That was mine too. Just having a waterfall right behind us. I love waterfalls.
Everything.
I love waterfalls, and I don't get to be around them enough in Southern California. So that was just really nice. Awesome. Well, let's get into it. All right, welcome back to Planet People. We are in the most beautiful location. I'm sure that you guys can hear the river behind us, the waterfalls, the birds chirping. We heard a blue jay, or it was a blue jay, right, earlier? Yeah. And I'm here with Natalie. We drove up this morning, left at 5:30 a.m. just to be here, and thank God we did, because it's been such a special day.
I know, quite the epic road trip. I love that Planet People can take us on such a journey to do these interviews with guests that I meet along my own journey when I'm doing all of this field work. And that's really why I started Planet People. Embrace the natural sounds today. We are recording in a beautiful location with a very special guest, Seth Bizardi Tsosie, that brought us up Whitney Portal Road. So we are really at the top of Mount Whitney right now, it feels like. And honestly, it's giving Yosemite. So Seth and I know each other actually from a project that I was working on with California Transportation about 3 years ago for a very interesting and complex highway expansion project known as the Highway 395. It's a very dangerous highway. And so the goal of the project was to expand it to prevent basically lives from being killed. And so Seth and I were out there monitoring important resources. For me, I was monitoring environmental resources, so desert tortoise, Joshua trees, and Seth is there as a native monitor. We're so excited for this episode and welcome our guest, Seth Bizardi Tsosie. Seth, how are you today?
I'm doing all right.
Doing all right? Thanks for being here.
No problem. Yeah, so my great-grandpa's name was just Bizardi Tsosie, and he was a medicine man in the Navajo Nation. And my name roughly translates to high voice in Navajo.
And what does that mean exactly, like high voice?
I don't know. It was just, I think that was just a name that he came up with on his journey to becoming a medicine man. I haven't heard too much about it though, so it's kind of interesting.
I bet it has a lot of meanings.
I think names carry a lot of weight if you really want to become vulnerable to how that name can translate to something that is destined for you.
That being your grandfather's name and then passed on to you? Or was it your great-grandfather?
He's either my great-grandfather or my great-great-grandfather.
Oh, okay.
Well, Seth and I met on a project about 3 years ago now, which is crazy that it feels like that long ago. And just to give our listeners a little bit of context about how we met, I'll just share a short summary of what that project was. But basically, California Transportation was hiring two types of other monitors, a native monitor and an archaeologist. And for me, I was the biological monitor. So there are three different types of monitors on this highway expansion project that California Transportation was aiming to complete after 20 years of discussion. And the reason for all of this debate around starting the project is because of these cultural, environmental, and sensitive resources that we were all there to protect. And my role was there to make sure that there were no desert tortoises harmed and that the Joshua trees were protected. And so while I was there, I had the pleasure of meeting Seth, and he arrived as the native monitor for the Lone Pine Paiute-Shoshone. And you played such an important role in making sure that these Indigenous resources were protected from this highway expansion project, which eventually did move through. And so that's where I know Seth, and I feel like it's a full circle moment to have you back on the show. And I think your last name translating to high voice translates so well to you carrying what now I've seen you step into a leadership role where you're doing a lot of teaching with your basket weaving practices. So I just think it's a beautiful full circle thing to see you step into this compared to just 3 years ago when you were just kind of getting started, I feel like, right?
Yeah, I think I was only making arrowheads back then.
Yeah. And then we got connected and have been friends on social media ever since. So it's been really cool to see you step into what you're doing now. And I'm excited to share all of that today.
I wonder too, like high voice, like you're sharing your voice and your practice and these teachings that you're doing, like maybe there's something to that as well. And also using your voice on these projects.
And the show today.
And the show today. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to have such a wonderful episode. And yeah, let's interweave ourselves into the episode. Sorry, that was so cheesy, but here we are. Let's get into it. So what exactly is a native monitor? I know Natalie is on all of these different projects as an environmental monitor and biologist, making sure that specific habitats are staying untouched or species are being relocated. So what exactly is a native monitor, and what are you doing day to day on those projects? Native
monitoring is basically we get contracted by the archaeology companies around to work on like certain projects that are like near sites and stuff like that. Most of the time the sites are already kind of well known because people have been doing archaeology in the valley for like 100 years probably. So most of the spots are already known, And I think there was a law or something that was passed to where the state has to hire tribal monitors to survey and collect what was the tribes in the past.
I remember you were showing me some really cool, what was it, bouldering stones?
Oh yeah.
Or what are those called?
Milling stones?
Milling stones, yes.
Yeah, those are, some of them in like big boulders are like from like thousands of years ago, just like passed down through generations. Like,
what does a milling stone look like, and how do you carve it?
Usually it could be like any rock really, but it's most of the time, like out walking in the desert, you'll see like a flat rock that has some really nice shine to it. And the way they're made is like you throw some sand on there or clay and you grind it up with another rock, and then it starts smoothing it out. And then you take like a sharp piece of jasper or chert or something, and you tap it a whole bunch of times, and it smooths out the high spots pretty much. And then
That's cool.
People use them for like grinding pine nuts, all kinds of seeds like rice grass.
So you're making like a divot in the stone so you can mill herbs or other, medicinal plants, things like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So those are just some of the resources you were protecting on this project when we were out there almost 3 years ago. And I don't know if you remember this, but there was also so much frenzy around the Joshua tree at the time. So what was your experience trying to protect the root systems of these Joshua trees before, they were taken out by the development for basically this highway expansion?
It wasn't fun. So I think there was like 400 trees or something that they had to either remove or relocate.
Wow.
And they weren't transplanting the ones over 6 feet because they thought they wouldn't survive. But the tribe got a couple of them, and we transplanted them, and they're all still alive.
And they're fine, yeah.
So they were just bulldozing them down. They weren't even giving me time to collect the roots for baskets or anything, really.
I was gonna say, so when they're bulldozing it, and then you being this monitor on these sites, are you just like, yo, stop, halt what you're doing? Or what is that process? Do you have to go to a manager of some sort, or?
Well, we kind of had it worked out to where they would work slow so that we could gather from them. Because usually you'd have to dig, with a digging stick, 3 feet down to get the roots. And you can only gather 3 or 4 per tree. So we kind of had a plan to where they would go slow, but they weren't going slow. It was just getting mixed in with all the other dirt piles, and there was a couple times where I tried to wave at them, tell them to slow down, and they would just keep going.
Interesting.
Yeah, I remember that. In my experience, we were flagging off the Joshua trees, so putting pink tape around them and a buffer so that they respected the boundary of the tree, because at the time, the frenzy was because the Joshua tree was getting ready to be listed as a candidate species under the California Endangered Species Act. So for a couple years, the Joshua tree was in this interim process to be listed under the Endangered Species Act, but while it remained a candidate, it had interim protections. So that's why when we were on that project, people were running around like crazy, the biologists were running around like crazy to flag off the trees, because there would be a time where they would be protected before they could tear them out. But in the case of this project, there was a lull in the, candidate listing, and so that's why all those trees were taken out, which is really too bad. The timing of that just did not work out. But
so it seems like there's some crossover with your environmental monitoring and then your native monitoring as well.
it's interwoven.
Yeah. And so, for instance, these millstones, what are some other resources, artifacts, or things that you're looking for in the field when you're out there?
One of the big things we were finding a lot was arrowheads,
Yeah.
or the hand stones to actually grind the food with. The burials on the highway, that was a dilemma for sure, because we knew that they were there, but Caltrans put their highway right on top of it, and I don't think they even gave the tribe a chance to consult before they. I mean, it's been a project for 20 years, so there probably was consulting time, but maybe a long time ago. But yeah, we knew it was there, and we actually had to like fight them to get them to move the highway off the burials.
Were you successful in that endeavor?
Yeah, they moved it
Oh.
like 10 feet to the side in one spot. But it's pretty wild. We were thinking about putting like some sort of plaque or something out there.
I was just gonna ask, are these places like unmarked and you guys just know exactly where it is, but maybe to the naked eye, like it's not necessarily marked?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we revegetated them and everything, so we kind of tried to make it look like there was nothing that happened. But I don't know why, but we had to actually excavate with the archaeologists the whole pad where the burials were, and it turned out to be like a whole cemetery. Like there was like 30 people in it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. There was also, I think, somehow there were remains that got, I think they were with the archaeology group, like from a long time ago, and we actually got to do like a whole ceremony. We got like all the tribes from the valley to come down, and we put those remains back to rest. It was a pretty good feeling, but I'm pretty sure they were like remains from like a university or something. I'm not exactly sure, but I don't think we pulled them off the project. But yeah, that was really, really nice to have like a full ceremony for it, like a funeral in a way. It's cool to get all the tribes together to do that kind of stuff.
Was that the first time that you guys have all gotten together like that, or does that happen every now and then?
For that type of thing, it was the
Yeah.
first time. But like, we're always like fighting. We like go to meetings and like with DWP or BLM or K2 Gold, even trying to mine the mesa.
It's another story.
Yeah, but yeah, we get together for like stuff like that all the time.
30 people, and you said they were from a university?
Just
Or-
the one, just
oh.
the one. But it's basically a cemetery. We even had, as they were building the highway, and even at night, we had like security out there to make sure nobody would mess with anything, because it's a really important spot to us. But yeah, I was glad when I found out they actually did move the highway a little bit out of the way, because they were really like trying to just build the highway on top of it.
Unacceptable.
That's
you guys
so
said hell
crazy.
no.
Yeah, for real.
That's just so crazy to me. Like, there's no way that they would do that if on like any other cemetery.
That's what we kept having to tell them. It was like, how would you like it if we built a highway on top of your grandma's grave?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, it doesn't click to them because it's like from a long time ago.
Yeah.
But that's people's families out there.
Damn.
I mean, when you say that, I kind of think of like Scotland. Like, there's this like famous cemetery in the middle of town, and it's like literally they had to bring in more dirt because there were so many people that died. So it's like they had to bring in more land to like, you know, keep putting them down in the ground. But you would never just put a highway over that. Like, there's no way.
Yeah.
You know, that's crazy. Well, I'm glad that you guys fought it, and I'm glad that they moved it off to the side a little bit, even though it probably should have been, sounds like a little bit more space in between, because it doesn't seem like it was that far away.
That's a win.
That is a win.
Even though they still went through with the project, ideally we wouldn't want that, but at the very least, at least we did it and monitored, knowing we did a pretty good job. You had your advocacy efforts, remove the highway or relocate it 10 feet over. We made sure desert tortoises and Joshua trees, were protected to the best of our ability. Joshua trees suffered. Hopefully desert tortoises were okay. But the outcome of that project is still that the highway was expanded to save lives. People will always come first.
And people are still getting in car wrecks on it.
I have 2 questions. One, is your family happy that you're out here monitoring and being an advocate on these like construction sites?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like one of the more impactful things that we could do for the land and the plants, the animals. It's also like super rewarding to be able to protect that stuff instead of like letting like back in the day, archaeologists would take the stuff and just take it all to a university. And now there's laws saying that if there's stuff from a certain tribe, the tribe can ask for it back, and they're legally obligated to give it back.
Oh, good.
But I mean, there's still remains from everywhere in the United States, and especially in Berkeley.
Berkeley?
Like, I think there's like 10,000 people in there that haven't been returned.
Wow.
But now, ever since I think NAGPRA got updated, so now they're trying to actually reach out to tribes and give their people back. It's a long process though.
Yeah.
For like 30, 40 years they've had them. And some people still study them even, which is pretty crazy.
Small and slow moving progress, it sounds like. And would you encourage other Native young people, or even, doesn't matter how old you are, just Native people in general, to put themselves out there and become these Native monitors as well in their local tribes and areas?
Yeah. I would say just like get in contact with the tribe and try to help out where you can. I feel like, I know it's hard for a lot of bigger tribes with like casinos and stuff, but I guess we're kind of lucky here because we're a pretty small tribe and it's like real tight knit. Like everybody knows everybody, so it's a little easier. But Native monitors are required for like a lot of like soil disturbance or anything like that, especially in California.
And maybe in states where it's not required, getting in touch with local tribes and trying to get it so that it is required.
Yeah. One thing I see a lot is like people, there's still looters everywhere, and it's illegal in California to like take artifacts off of public land. There was even a guy here who had like, they quantified it as like a money value on the artifacts he had. They said it was like $1 million worth of artifacts, and he ended up going to prison, I think. And he was like a doctor or something, and all of the artifacts got given to the tribe. But it's still a felony to take artifacts off of public land, and I feel like the tribe should have ownership of that stuff instead of it being in somebody's house, like in a shelf or just like in a box somewhere, because the tribes usually have like the facilities to be able to like display it or like teach about it, because that was the way I learned, is by doing the archaeology stuff. It's where I got started and everything, just by actually being out and seeing the artifacts, the real stuff.
Wow, that's
Lots of cultural resources to monitor.
Yeah.
I remember finding obsidian flakes.
Yeah.
Those are cool. Those are from the arrowheads, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we got an obsidian dome, like, it was really close to the project, probably like 20 miles away. And it's called Sugarloaf Mountain. I think it's like 7 miles long or something. And back in the day, they found abalone shells and southwestern pottery over there. It's probably
abalone shells?
Yeah, for obsidian trade, I think.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it was like a super sacred place. The tribe still goes there in the spring and fall to soak in the hot springs.
Cool.
And do some ceremony and stuff.
Cool.
That's amazing.
But it's on the base, so we get limited access. Like, We have to schedule it like 3 months in advance, and they don't let us collect obsidian.
You have to schedule it through the BLM?
Through the base.
Oh, through the base.
Yeah, the China Lake base. Pretty messed up.
Yeah, so you guys have to schedule these rituals that are in going to these sacred places. 3 months in advance, like that's crazy to me. Like,
Yeah, and it's only twice a year they let us in.
Whoa.
Well, China Lake is an active military training area.
Yeah, it's really far from like the actual stuff that's going
Is
on
it?
out there, though.
Yeah. That's the desert.
Yeah, it's
Probably pretty remote out there, right?
Yeah. It is kind of nice though, because there's a lot of artifacts out there that haven't been touched because it's off limits to the public. But
Cool. So what was it like growing up Indigenous in the Owens Valley? And I know for people listening, Owens Valley will be an easier way to identify where we are in the world today, recording. But in reality, it's so much more than the Owens Valley, because to you, this is the land of flowing water, right? Or it used to be.
yeah.
So what was it like growing up here in what was the land of flowing water, which is now a very dry region?
I mean, it was all right. So I'm Navajo. My aunt, uncle are Paiute, but my mom and my other uncle are Navajo. So I was like born here, raised here, and the tribe kind of like adopted me when I was like young. And
Which tribe?
the Paiute-Shoshone, Lone Pine Paiute-Shoshone, they had like this after school program where they would like, it was like tutoring kind of, and then they like, every so often they'd take us on like trips to like San Diego and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, they kind of like adopted me and my brothers and sister. That was pretty nice. And
Yeah. So you felt like very welcomed?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Not so much in school though.
Why is
Oh,
that?
yeah?
Yeah, there wasn't many native kids in the school, so like kind of get picked on a little bit.
Yeah.
I see. Which
Bullied.
high school?
Lone Pine.
Lone Pine High School.
Yeah.
How big was your high school class?
I think it was like 27 people.
Wow.
Whoa! Oh my gosh.
Well,
Yeah.
the population of Lone Pine is
Yeah.
less than a couple thousand, right?
Yeah, I think it's like 2,500.
Okay, I was
3,000.
close.
Wow.
A couple thousand, yeah.
I went to school where there was probably
There were
like
500
2,000.
people in my grade.
Not in my grade, but like in my school.
In your school, yeah.
But Hugh, my partner who you just met, he went to a really small school as well.
Just gonna fix me.
Yeah, that's crazy. I can't even really imagine going to a school that big.
Yeah, and you had 2 minutes to get to class, and it's like you would have to run to get to your class,
Dang.
and they weren't lenient about it either.
So what are some Indigenous practices that you have carried with you from your childhood into adulthood now?
Well, actually, I didn't really learn much when I was a kid because nobody. I mean, there's still some people like around, but not many people make like arrowheads or like jewelry, pottery, baskets. Like I know of like 1 or 2 people in Lone Pine who used to make baskets way back in the day, but yeah, that's kind of why I'm starting to do all that stuff, is so that I could teach people. And like one of my biggest goals is like to see people out here harvesting plants and basket material and stuff like that, because it's almost like a lost art here. It's really hard to find people who do it.
Basket weaving.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring it back. That's great.
Yeah. I had a class that I was teaching in Bishop 2 days in a row. I taught the 7th or the 5th graders and the 10th graders up there about that kind of stuff.
You just answered my next question, is if you're like doing any classes of any sort.
Yeah.
I want to
I'm getting
learn.
into it a little
I'm an
bit.
artist and I love doing stuff like that.
Well, it's funny you mention that because I used to do basket weaving when I was at camp growing up in the summers. Every summer I would weave a basket at summer camp.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty relaxing doing that kind of stuff.
It is relaxing.
I brought my basket stuff so I could work on something later.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, you should show us.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How was teaching 5th graders and 10th graders? Do you think you were getting, positive feedback? Were they interested in learning about this, what sounds like kind of an ancient style of using these materials from the earth to build something, right? You said it's not often that people do that anymore.
Yeah. I think the hard part, like the reason people don't do it is because it takes so long to get out and harvest and season the materials. But yeah, those 5th graders are really like receptive to like what you're saying, and they'll be like raising their hand, asking all kinds of questions. But the 10th graders they're a little hard to get through too.
Yeah.
But I think like since like I'm kind of young, they kind of related a little bit,
Yeah.
and like I had
That's
them,
respectable,
Yeah.
You showed them that it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were super interested in like the bow that I made, and
That's cool.
pretty much the whole time, like I'd give them the rundown, tell them what everything is. I'd like hand them baskets and pottery, make sure that they know what it feels like and all the ingredients to make that kind of stuff. But for the most part, we were just shooting bow out there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, there was probably like 1 or 2 who actually shot a bow and arrow before, but it was pretty new to the rest of them, and I feel like they really, really liked it.
Cool.
So is there a place that you go now where you can do that like regularly with your family and friends?
Nah,
No?
no.
But maybe you can create that space.
Yeah, well, actually, we kind of are.
Cool.
On the res, we got a native plant nursery. It's not really, it's like half and half. It's like all kinds of plants, really. But this year I started a basket garden. So I'm growing all kinds of basket material, string material, and I got like native medicines and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
And at the end of the year, when all the leaves fall, I'm gonna try to do a couple like harvesting classes, and maybe we'll go out on a trip somewhere and harvest some willows
nice.
and make something.
Take us with you.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I'm
sounds like
so
fun.
down for that.
Maybe in the fall when it's less hot.
Yeah, well, harvest season for almost everything is in the fall.
Yeah.
Like at least after the seeds and all the leaves fall off the plant. Or that's what I learned at least.
Cool. Have you read Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Kimmerwall?
Kathy wanted me to. She gave me the book, I just haven't read it yet.
I feel like what you're saying now about just using these ancient practices where you're very tied to the landscape and understanding the growth of the plants and harvesting them for, at their peak, readiness to use. She talks a lot about that in her book, and she's a beautiful writer. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta read it.
You should read it.
I hear a lot about that book, actually.
It's a really popular book that highlights the importance of Indigenous knowledge, and she comes from this perspective of having been trained as a scientist. And when she went through academia and with her professors, she had asked some really profound questions that were more coming from that like soulful way of knowing. And she questioned, why are these two different colored plants next to each other? And her professor told her that doesn't matter. And you need to take your emotional interest out of this academic discussion and study. And so she had this kind of different approach to wanting to study nature. And it's because she is an Indigenous woman herself. I forget which tribe she comes from. And so I think she really had this approach to studying science through this Indigenous lens, because she herself is an Indigenous woman, but she speaks a lot in her book about being in the East Coast of the United States and in Canada. I think a lot of her time she spent in New York, but point being that she had such a beautiful way of interweaving both her science background and her Indigenous knowing about the landscape and how they're both equally important. And to your point, Coral, about the native and bio-monitoring overlap, there definitely is an interweaving of those two studies, I think. And if the scientist is willing to embrace the Indigenous knowledge, the traditional ecological knowledge, teak for short. I'm sure you've heard that, right? And then scientific ecological knowledge is the seek. And so when we combine those two, there can be endless solutions to understanding how to grow things properly, to study them through a holistic lens, where we can use both that empathetic way of understanding the landscape and also observing it maybe for a quantitative reason, for science. Two can definitely coexist.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What's your take on that?
Well, the plant's definitely been around a lot longer than us, and especially like here, a lot of the plants here were like not really cultivated, but tended to where they grow in a certain way that is like beneficial for use, and almost every plant has medicinal value to it. Like I don't even take like ibuprofen anymore, or I don't cover my wounds with like Band-Aids or Neosporin or any of that. There's just so many plants that'll work for you instead of stuff that's like the chemicals pulled out of plants.
What do you use instead of ibuprofen?
I use willow bark, actually.
Willow bark? And how do you use it?
I harvest the stick in the fall or winter, and I let it dry for like 6 months until it turns brown, and then I'll scrape off the outer bark. And if you cut towards the woody part down the stem,
against the grain, or with the grain?
I guess it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter. Okay.
There's this like thick inner bark, and I cut it into like long strips, and I'll tie them into little bundles, and whenever I got like pain or something, I'll just toss it in like hot water for making tea, and just drink some of that until I don't feel it anymore.
Is it just like a whole pot that you're making and then drinking the whole pot, or is it like one glass or like one cup of tea?
How much dose do you need to
that's
not feel the pain?
It definitely varies, especially because there's like 20-something species of willow. So like I'll brew like a pot, but I'll only drink like 1 or 2 cups maybe.
Okay.
And I try not to get it too steeped, because it could get pretty bitter.
Yeah.
I see.
And so like once you drink that, when are you feeling the effects of the pain relief?
Almost like close to instant. It's like 10, 15 minutes. I think it's faster than ibuprofen.
Do you get headaches? No?
Nah.
I'm wondering because I took Advil today because I had a headache. So like I wonder if that would help my headaches.
It probably would.
Yeah.
Plant medicine is life.
And what kind of like ointment are you using instead of something like Neosporin?
So like up here there's some yarrow, and I have like this little beaded canister thing that I didn't bring it, but I usually carry it around when I go hiking or something. And I let it dry and then grind it up into like a little powder, and if I get a cut, like I'll just toss it on there real fast. And
with it dried, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a coagulant, so like if you're bleeding a lot, it'll like seal it up right away. Or I think people used to eat it back in the day for like stomach infections or something like that.
Oh, okay.
It's a pretty versatile plant. Like you can make teas out of it, kind of like the willow. And there's also like my favorite tea is the yerba manza. We collect the root, and I kind of just like clean it off and make sure there's no dirt on it, and then I'll boil the whole root. It's like a big tuber almost. And like when it's boiling, I like to like get some of the steam in my face, because it's like not Vaseline, I guess kind of like Vicks or something.
Oh, okay.
And it like really clears your sinuses and stuff like that.
Yeah, clears you up.
Cool.
Nice. So with these like basket weaving garden and medicinal garden that you guys have going on, so you said that you plan to do like classes for medicine.
It's kind of tough with medicine because it's like really easy to overdo it. I feel like you'd have to like have a lot of practice with like the plants, or I guess like if I were to teach people, I probably wouldn't teach them about some of the other plants that could like make you sick or something. But
Keep
the
it
ones I
simple.
mentioned aren't like super bad if you drink too much, except for willow.
Well, earlier I was talking about your experience growing up in the Owens Valley, also known as Paiute, right? The land of flowing water. Did I say it correctly?
Paiute.
Paiute? Wow, I totally butchered it. Paiute?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Paiute. Thank you. Such a beautiful name.
Yeah.
The land of flowing water. But now, in modern day, would you still refer to it as the land of flowing water, even though the water has been sucked dry from the valley? And we can kind of get into the history of the water rights here. If you want to share a little bit about, you know, how LA Water has basically stripped this land of all of its water.
Yeah.
And that started when, about the early 1900s, right?
Yeah, I think it was like around 1920 or something like that.
Okay. 1920s.
I still refer to it as the land of flowing water because, I mean, at the base of the mountain we still got flowing water. But then it all flows into the aqueduct. But
And where does the water in the aqueduct go?
it gets shipped straight to LA, right down. I think it goes like close to like Mulholland Drive or something like that.
Speaking
what's
of
it-
Mulholland,
What's an aqueduct for our listeners that might not know what that is?
It's basically just like a water trough that transports all the water through the whole valley, all the way up to Mono, down to LA.
And is any of the water being used here?
Not really. I mean, they let a little bit flow through the river all the way from Bishop, the Owens River, but it goes straight to the lake, and then they pump it for their dust mitigation stuff. And they don't even they don't even really do a good job of doing that. I mean, even the other day it was super dusty out here. But yeah, every single stream, every creek, it goes straight to the aqueduct.
Wow.
and this aqueduct was, and you mentioned this aqueduct transfers water all the way from here basically to Mulholland Drive.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Mulholland is the reason why the water was diverted in the 1920s away from this land, because he pioneered this aqueduct, basically.
Yep. Yeah, LA needed a lot of water, and his quote was, I think it was, "There it is, let's take it," or something like that, or "There it is, take it," and
Wow. Sounds about right to me.
yeah, and even till this day, now they're talking about pumping groundwater to use for their dust mitigation.
And why is the dust mitigation important?
Well, it got really important in the 1940s when we had the Japanese internment camp over at, it's called Manzanar. People were getting really sick back then because there was no dust mitigation program, and the lake was already completely dry.
And so was there sediment on the lake that was causing problems?
Yeah, the whole valley was just a big dust bowl, like really
Wow.
bad back then, and people were getting like really sick and getting like COPD, and a bunch of Japanese people actually died from it.
What is
Oh my God.
COPD?
Chronic pulmonary something disorder.
Disease, disorder, okay.
It's the lake has they call it PM10s. I think it's like a certain grain size of particulate matter, and like borax and all kinds of nasty stuff that once it gets in your lungs, it can't get out. It's like silica dust pretty much.
Yeah.
And like back then, everybody was getting sick from it. But they're kind of, now they're like mandated to keep parts of the lake moist for a certain part of the year. But
Were there any cases of valley fever?
I'm not sure what that is.
I know it's a problem in Bakersfield.
Well, what is valley fever?
Valley fever is an airborne disease from bacteria in dust. And this bacteria comes from like the cryptobiotic soil that's released from the earth when there's honestly not a lot of water and when there's a lot of development. Because when you tear out the creosote and the sage and all of those desert scrubby plants, you're removing the only thing that keeps the soil in the earth. And so then that desert crust is released into the atmosphere, carrying this airborne disease with it known as valley fever. And valley fever is with you for life once you have it.
Oh.
It basically hollows out your bones and it makes you really sick.
Oh my God.
That's wild.
And so that's a huge problem with dust in the desert. And I'm sure, yeah, in the 1940s it sounded pretty fucking bad.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And you mentioned a Japanese internment camp.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe give us a little background on that.
Well,
What is that? What happened there?
it's basically like a concentration camp. I mean, it is a concentration camp. During World War II, America was afraid that there could be like Japanese spies just around, and they gathered up everybody they can find and put them in these concentration camps all throughout California and stuff.
And did the one around here disturb native land as well? Like, I mean, all of it is disturbed native land, but like, I guess at the time, like, was it kind of like a bulldozing situation too?
Yeah, but we didn't have rights back then, so there was nothing we could do about it. They pretty much just cleared out all the land between Shepherd's Creek and Sims Creek, and I bet it was just filled with artifacts that they probably didn't even bat an eye and just rolled it under the dirt.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But it was a really big camp back in the day. It's shrunken down a lot since then. I think there was like 10,000 Japanese people in there or something like that.
Yeah.
There's a couple thousand in there. And,
California has a pretty rough history with the Japanese encampments.
I have heard stories though of like the guards felt bad, so like they would let groups of people know when the guards were switching, and when they switched, a group would go out and go fishing, and then when the guards switched again, they'd come back with a bunch of food. I always thought that was pretty cool. Like I've
Some
seen
niceness in the horror.
Yeah.
Let's hope that's happening today with everything going on with deportation. Let there be some sort of nice prison guards around there.
Hope
so
so.
Crazy.
It's kind of I feel like it's probably a pretty rare thing.
Hey Planet People, we're taking a quick bird's eye view break to do a short segment about Manzanar, which is a concentration camp that we talk about in this episode with Seth.
And it's more of a serious topic, obviously. It was a Japanese internment camp. It's obviously a terrible part of our history, and unfortunately one that we're now seeing in 2025, which is insane.
With alligator Alcatraz?
Yeah, with alligator Alcatraz,
In Florida,
which is
for
insane.
context.
And it's also an environmental, crisis on top of it. So it's like we're seeing, we talk about that history in this episode, and then we're seeing it in real time now. And so we just wanted to talk a little bit about the history of Manzanar in this bird's eye view.
Manzanar was created in 1942 following World War II after Pearl Harbor, and there was a lot of tension between Americans and Japanese Americans. And so with very little notice, Japanese people all throughout the West were given, no notice for being evicted from their homes, their belongings, everything. They were corralled up into groups and sent to internment camps in Texas, Utah, Nevada, throughout the Southwest in horrible living conditions. And one of these internment camps is in the eastern Sierra Nevada, in Owens Valley, where we are, discussing all of these land back issues with Seth. And so the Manzanar history is right in alignment with the rest of the colonialist practices that have deeply uprooted the environment, indigenous heritage, and cultural resources throughout the Owens Valley. And so it's this pattern of history we see in this beautiful landscape. In the 1920s, Owens Valley was stripped of its water by LA, basically. LA owns the entire valley now. In 1940s, we see the involvement of the internment camp. And so there's a pattern of behavior here.
Yeah.
Where the land is being sacrificed and not for the people that live there.
And isn't there another instance of that you were telling me offline, of basically the exact same thing?
Of an internment camp? Or?
No, sorry, of the land being just like people coming in and whether it be you know, for a complete human injustice, or for the actual elements like water. Isn't there a coal mining?
Yes, so there is a threat to this really dense Joshua tree forest behind Lone Pine towards Death Valley. There's a threat from a mining company to come into this area called Conglomerate Mesa, which I think could be an episode in its own, but there's a lot of history attached there with protecting it from, basically, I think it's like K2 Gold is the mining company from Canada. So there's a lot of international interest in this area, national and regional, with stealing the water for Southern California, the international component, like Japanese Americans being corralled up into Manzanar, and now these Canadian mining companies coming in and wanting to extract what they think could be gold from the land. So there's definitely a pattern here, but.
And with the Japanese internment camp specifically, just going back to like the climate issue of it all, you know, again, not only is it a total like social injustice issue, but they had to make those internment camps like super quick. So didn't they just like kind of like smash through the environment?
The living conditions were horrible. And so when we see poor living conditions, it's often a reflection of how the environment is doing. And at the time, America had just, 5 years previously had gone through a dust bowl. There was massive amounts of dust in the Owens Valley because the water was stripped from the land. And to build these internment camps, you're also uprooting the creosote. And so when you uproot the creosote, the soil in the desert soil becomes dust in the air. There's nothing to keep it in place. That root system is gone. And so you start to see things like valley fever, which is a horrific sickness. So these people are living in poor living conditions, and with not a lot of access to basic human rights.
Yeah.
Like, period. They were in internment camps. And so that was a huge embarrassment for American history. And that Manzanar internment camp is still in the Owens Valley today, which you can go see.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you can go and like tour it?
You can go and tour it, yeah.
Wow.
Oh wow. So in 1942, there was even a Manzanar riot where 2 people were killed. So there was definitely a lot of pushback, especially with the rapid construction in these fragile environments with, thousands of people piled in. Like,
so crazy.
Yeah, so that's an interesting piece of history.
Yeah, and just a reminder of why we shouldn't have that today. Period.
Stop alligator Alcatraz.
Yeah.
Well, fast forwarding from the 1940s to today, would you say a lot of those same threats still remain in terms of there being poor air quality throughout the valley?
Oh yeah. Yeah, the dust mitigation covers like 25% of the lake. And it was like halfway filled up a couple years ago when we had those crazy storms and Hurricane Hillary, but it was only because the aqueduct broke a couple times and they had to let the water flow onto the lake. And now that it's super dry again, it's like it's not really crusted over yet, so there's all kinds of loose dust on the top, and whenever a little breeze picks up, it just kicks the dust up like crazy.
That Sierra Nevada wind is no joke either.
Yeah, you get sandblasted out there sometimes.
Definitely. It's extreme conditions in the Great Basin region.
Well, probably didn't used to be that way.
If there was water here, maybe the conditions would feel less extreme.
Yeah.
Not that there isn't water. I know you said there's still some, but it's all diverted into the aqueduct, and it's owned by LA.
It gets diverted really early, like really close to the base of the mountains, especially like a little bit down south.
Is there any sort of like policy work that's working to change this system for the better?
In terms of LA being removed from owning the water?
Yeah, and even if they don't get removed, like some sort of change in direction of the water.
There's forever beef.
Yeah, they're never gonna give it up. They back in the day they bought all the, because it was the farmers who came here and had most of the land. Once the United States Army gathered up everybody and took them to Fort Tejon. The farmers came in and claimed the land for their own. And then DWP came around and bought most of the farmland, bought out all kinds of land from people, and then made the aqueduct. And even like some of the businesses are on DWP land that's leased to the business. And once the lease is up, most of the time DWP won't let them like buy the land or the property, and sometimes they won't even let them get the lease again.
Wow.
And it's kind of they're trying to like have less infrastructure, so like people don't come around as often. I'm pretty sure it's like so people don't really notice what's going on in certain areas.
So not only is there not policy being made for a positive change here, but it seems like there's actually things working against the possibility of that, like no sort of new home ownership or land ownership. Wow.
They're even trying to pump groundwater now.
Yeah.
For stuff like
You would
everywhere.
think that with the housing crisis in California, they would release some of this land back to people that would benefit directly from having access to building a home, like people that are from here, like Paiute-Shoshone people. They should be able to build outside of the reservation, right? Or collect more land and be given their land back, right? Isn't that the whole point of the land back movement?
Yeah.
For Indigenous sovereignty?
DWP's never gonna change, I don't think.
What's your take on the land back movement?
I think it's good. We definitely don't have much, and it's hard to like make money on land where there's not much area. We don't even really have water on the res. Like every tribe throughout the valley has like a perennial stream going through their res. But
Not in Lone Pine?
nah, we get like irrigation in certain areas like every week or something like that. But we don't have a creek. Like when it rained like crazy, there was a creek flowing for a couple months, but not anymore.
So how do you get your water?
The tribe has wells that fill up from the aquifer, so that's where most of the water comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah, DWP's no help to us, really. I mean, they have to have us on the lake sometimes to, as cultural monitors, to make sure they don't disturb anything.
Yeah.
But that's like the bare minimum.
Have you ever seen any snowy plovers on the lakes?
There's a ton out there.
No way, dude.
Yeah.
That's so cool to me that this coastal shorebird, well, I guess it's not unusual for a shorebird to have their migratory routes far from the coast and stop at these little lake hotspots. Like there's the Salton Sea in Southern California, and then they fly up further north on their migratory path. But when I found out there were snowy plovers in the valley, I was so excited about that.
Yeah, they're protected, so they have to be really careful out there.
Oh yeah.
And they're kind of hard to see sometimes.
They are. They're small.
Yeah.
They look like little cotton balls on toothpicks.
Yeah.
Seriously, they're chicks. Just the cutest little fluffy little chicky chicks. I love them. That's cool. So there's a lot of them on the lake then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I think there's like almost 200 different migratory bird species that come to the lake.
I believe it. They're going up to Mono Lake next.
Yeah.
All the grebes are up there.
Nice.
So cool. There's a lot of really great birding in the valley.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a favorite local bird?
It'd probably be, I don't know, I like eagles. Eagles are really cool.
Yeah.
You just landed me the perfect segue because I wanted to talk about golden eagles. And I love that Owens Valley and Lone Pine is known for being the land of golden eagles.
Yeah, that was our high school mascot.
No, that's cool.
That's badass.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Have you seen many golden eagles then?
not this year, but a couple
In
years
years
ago,
past.
I was seeing a ton, and their wingspan's giant. It's actually insane to see them. Like you could tell right away when, like, most of the time, especially if they're pretty close.
The sheer size alone
Yeah.
sends you in a awe, jaw-dropping, like, oh my God, that looks like a dinosaur.
Yeah.
And they are closest relatives to dinosaurs.
That's wild.
Birds of prey, yeah.
More than alligators?
I'm not sure about that, but in terms of velociraptors and birds of prey, they're
cool.
definitely of the same descent.
That's cool.
Wild.
I'll never forget the first time I saw a golden eagle. And it took me a while to realize that that's what it was. But looking back on that moment, it was my first day on the 395 project with you and a
Oh my
couple of other
gosh,
monitors.
what?
That's why the
That's a
Owens Valley
blessing.
is so special to me. Because I remember waking up and driving out to the site, and the first thing I passed on my left side, going towards Alancha, was the Land of Golden Eagle sign on the high school building. I was like, oh my gosh, I have just entered the gateway here of the Eastern Sierra Nevada. And sure enough, I get there and we start doing the morning safety debrief. And I look behind me, and in the distance, this huge bird lands on the utility pole. And my immediate reaction was like, whoa, like I almost jumped a little bit. I was like, because it was just landing, I saw its wings. I was like, holy shit, that's
Wow.
a huge bird. And of course, another reason why I remember this moment is because I forgot my binoculars in my car. I grabbed my coworkers and they weren't very good. And so I was looking through them and I couldn't for sure like identify it as one because I've never seen one before. So I kind of just wrote it off. And it wasn't until January of 2024, so a year ago, I was out in Bishop and I had seen one land on a utility pole, and that same reaction came full circle. And I was like, okay, I saw that eagle 3 years ago on that project. That's what it was. And it just changed everything for me.
Yeah.
They're magical.
Yeah, those
They
are
are.
like some of the coolest birds around here, by far. Right next to the bald eagle.
Which one do you like better, do you think? Or
Well, we got more golden eagles around here, so
yeah.
Well, the golden
Kinda
eagles will
prefer.
outcompete the bald eagles any day too.
for real, like in food, getting food.
In territory,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
The golden
are
eagles will?
mean.
Or the
The golden eagles.
I've seen crows and golden eagles fighting before.
that's cool.
Dude, they go at it.
Yeah, it's wild. Even sometimes crows will be chasing them.
Yeah. Crows and ravens, they fend off their kin and members of their corvid tribes. You know, they fly in packs. And they'll fight off those eagles if they can. Or
They'll try.
Or they'll try. The hawks, owls, you can honestly tell when like a predator is nearby, especially an owl roosting in the trees during the day. Ravens will start calling at it. And that's how you can spot an owl during the day, because ravens will uncover them to alert other birds in the area.
Oh,
So
it's a blue jay
the birds will teach you a lot.
behind you on this tree over here.
There are a lot of trees behind us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, eagles are pretty special. They definitely are one of my favorites too. Love that. Do you have any like crazy eagle stories where you saw one kind of close, or like one instance that's seared in your memory?
Well, there was one time I was going to Diaz Lake to gather some clay. It was like right when I started making pottery, so like I was just kind of looking for clay and stuff like that. And we were driving around the lake, and a bald eagle like just came flying right above us out of a tree, and like it swooped like right above the windshield, and like that was the
Wow.
closest I've ever seen one before.
It's cool.
That was wild. I think it was a male because it was a little bit smaller, but it was still like huge. Like I think that was like the first time I ever seen one, actually, just a couple years ago.
Wow.
Bald eagle?
hmm
Cool. Yeah, and birds of prey most oftentimes, I think in almost all bird of prey species, the female is bigger than the male, which is pretty badass if you ask me.
The
I
bald
love that.
eagle and the golden eagle?
Yes, and for hawk species, owls, the female is always bigger than the male.
And we see that in orcas. We talked about that in
That's
our orca
right.
episode.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do you have any eagle stories, Coral?
My most recent sighting of an eagle was a bald eagle actually in Canada. And Hugh and I were at the Capilano suspension bridge. They have the suspension bridge, and then they have this other area that's suspended like along the rock face, and underneath is just this like gorgeous river creek area. And the whole day I was like, I want to see an eagle, I want to see an eagle, show me an eagle. And then right when the sun was setting, this eagle just flies down when I'm like on this rock face suspended, and it flies down, and it was like probably like where this tree is, like I know the viewers can't see it, but where this tree is next to us, like it was so close to me, and just mid-flight, oh my gosh, it was so cool. Yeah,
Incredible.
Eagles have definitely been a major theme for us this year, I feel like.
This year and last year too. I mentioned in 2024 I was out here in January actually getting my interpretation certification, so with the National Association for Interpretation. And we've talked about interpretation a lot on the show. It's interp for short, and it's basically communicating something of value to you. So this discussion I would call almost sort of an interpretive discussion, because you're bringing in your plant knowledge and how it's valuable to you and how you can have it be a value of others by sharing your knowledge and passing that forward, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's a beautiful thing. Anyways, I digress. I was out here in January 2024 getting certified, and that was also another major eagle moment for me. I know I'm going into another story here, but this one's equally as cool as when I saw one 3 years ago, and I'll tell you why. And it's because I met this Indigenous woman while I was hiking, and I knew that she was Indigenous right away. She had this way of being where she was so comfortable on the landscape. She was wearing flip-flops, shorts. Her hair was blowing in the wind. And her friend, another Indigenous woman, was breastfeeding. And this was on the trail. I was like 20 minutes into my hike with my girlfriend, and I just felt like, wow, they are so comfortable, and it's a beautiful thing. And she noticed that I was wearing binoculars. And she asked me if I had attended a raptor discussion earlier that week about eagles. And sure enough, she had just asked me this question, an hour after I had done a huge presentation, my interpretation discussion on golden eagles, because I wanted to talk about them and how I saw them 3 years ago on that project with you. And so she just asked the right question, knowing somehow that I was interested because of my binoculars, right? She just had this intuition. And she told me where I could find one. And she goes, oh, you can, there are golden eagles off of Barlow Road. And she gave me this knowledge, and we carried on, and that was the exchange. And I'll never forget it, because sure enough, I'm going back down the trail, and I look up, I'm almost at my car, and I see a huge bird in the sky, and it's moving fast as hell. And I was like, I think that's a golden eagle. And then next thing I know, I look up, and it's almost out of my vision. And that's another thing I knew. They leave as fast as you see them because they're so quick.
Yeah.
And so it's diving down, a raven's chasing it, of course. Another thing, I had that size comparison of the raven next to this huge wingspan. And sure enough, I go off down the utility power line road, and I see it land on that pole, just like I had 3 years prior. And meanwhile, the full moon is rising in the background, and it's just like this magical moment. All because this woman, this beautiful Indigenous woman, I don't want to say felt like a Pocahontas moment, but it kind of did. her hair was like blowing in the wind. She looked beautiful. And I look back on my camera roll, and literally the night before, I had taken a photo of a mural next to the brewery in town. And the woman in the mural is breastfeeding with water flowing behind her. Her hand is up against the full moon with a raven with her. And I just could not believe that I had seen this mural the night before. And then that moment unfolded on the trail. And her knowledge, she passed it forward, and the eagle appeared. And it's just like the stars aligned.
Yeah. That's pretty sweet. That was the Great Spirit doing his work.
I would say so.
That's pretty cool, actually.
I just feel like every time I share that, it's like, wow. The stars really aligned. And she was so nice to share that information with me. It just goes back to this way of knowing that Indigenous people have that no other people have ties to because of their ties with the land. Would you agree with that?
Maybe a little bit.
How would you describe it? Just this, I don't know, you guys have this knowledge and can protect, what is this? The statistic is like 80% of conservation biodiversity is protected by Indigenous peoples.
It's probably because it's in our blood. I know with like arrowheads, pottery, baskets, all that stuff, like it was like I already knew it. I just had to do it in a way. Like it came to me super fast. And someone said the other day, like, they're like, could it be from like generational knowledge, like in your blood or something? And that kind of made something click a little bit, because I think it must be, because I mean we've been here for like over 13,000 years. Like even right in Nevada, they found a mummy from I think 11,000 years ago.
Wow.
And sandals and basketry, tule duck decoys. So like people were already established here like 11,000 years ago at least. And we're still going, still doing what we do pretty much. It's just like, it's something that like we can't give up really. It's just like always there for us in a way.
It's a beautiful way of putting it. I once heard an Indigenous elder say, we are all on this journey, and it is our duty to bring forth our unique gifts on this journey to share with other people. I feel like that's what you're doing with your basket weaving.
Yeah, trying to at least.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit, I mean, I do it to give back. Like at first it was like I was doing this stuff to like try to make money and stuff like that, but I found out along the way that you can't make it about like the money. You have to be more like forthcoming and giving with this type of information, because not many people have it. So now I'm really starting to like double down on the teaching aspect of it instead of trying to sell stuff.
Do you teach any of your like clay work as well, like your pottery?
Yeah, I've done a couple at like the bishop powwows and stuff like that.
It's cool.
Very cool.
It's actually really easy, like once you find the source. Like finding the source is the hard part.
Finding the clay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And how do you source that?
I kind of just so I'll dig it with a digging stick, and it comes out in like dirt clods, like concrete almost. And I'll just grind it on a grinding stone and get it wet. And then at first I was kind of just like messing around with it, like trying to make little bowls and stuff. But like after getting a feel for like the way the clay works. Started making like a little bit bigger items.
What are some like main things that you enjoy making now that you're like more
Like just in
experienced?
general?
Yeah.
My favorite thing right now is the rabbit blanket. I've never seen anybody make one or really talk about them. There's not many pictures of them. But I have this one book, and I hate the name of it. It's called Survival Arts of the Primitive Paiute. And it was like written in like the 1920s or something. And there's a couple pages in it that have a family making a rabbit blanket. And they say that for like a kid's blanket, it takes 40 rabbits, and for like a chief's blanket, it takes 100 rabbits. And they weren't kidding, because it took a lot of rabbits. But it's huge, and it's the warmest blanket I've ever used.
And you made it?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Incredible.
Yeah.
How did you make it?
So like, I bought the skins, but what you do is you cut it into a spiral, and I'll tie like 3 or 4 together, and like tie one end on a tree, and I'll tie another end to a stick, and I'll just roll the stick and twist up the furs, and it'll make like a 40-foot long string of rabbit, and then I'll just keep doing that and wrap it on the loom, and once I have enough width on the loom, I'll twine it like making a winnowing basket, or just like basketry in general.
Yeah.
Like every 3 fingers there'll be a string all the way across it. Yeah, it took a long time. It took a really long time.
How long?
It was like 3 months almost.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've dabbled in some pottery as well, and there's just something about using your hands and like letting go and letting, you know, whatever everyone will call it, God, spirit, you know, there's
The
so
creator.
many different, the universe, whatever. Like, I think really just like giving into that and getting into the flow of creating, and it's like it's like almost not even you that's like creating it. And it sounds like you kind of are experiencing that with basket weaving and picking all this up, and you're like, oh, I didn't really do it as a kid, but it's almost as if it was with you this whole time.
It's like a God-given gift.
Or
Yeah.
ancestral.
Ancestral.
Or anything,
Yeah.
everyone that's listening comes from all over the place, whatever it means
To you.
and your upbringing. But
I like
it's-
creator. You said that earlier.
Yeah.
The creator is watching.
Creator, Great Spirit, just a couple different names.
Yeah. But do you feel that, like when you're really getting into the
Weaving.
flow of things?
Yeah, especially like baskets and pottery, where it kind of takes a while. There's been a couple times where I'll be like working, and like I'm just like doing it without like thinking about it, and then like I'll start thinking about it. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah,
I'm actually
you're like, oh, wait.
doing this.
Yeah.
Like it's like a weird realization. Like it didn't feel like I was actually doing it. It was
Yeah.
like my hands are being guided in a way.
It's amazing.
It's pretty weird sometimes.
Yeah. I understand that feeling. And there's nothing like getting your hands in clay.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it.
Yep. Yeah,
Oh.
it dries my hands out pretty good.
Well,
though.
yeah. But like actually, I don't know. I love it. It's been a really long time since I've worked with clay.
It's such a different texture than like anything else.
Mm-hmm.
It's
So malleable,
Yeah.
too.
it's really cool stuff.
And you can't get too attached.
Oh no.
Got to throw that away.
Yeah.
Make the best thing you could possibly ever make. Toss it.
So I
Kill
used to
that
do.
baby.
Kill that baby. That is pottery.
Yeah.
Do you guys like do any sort of woodworking as well? And carving?
Not really. I feel like most of the carving back in the day was either for like a bow or an atlatl, or even like stone tablets. Like people used to make they're almost always like male and female representation on like stone tablets that are carved with obsidian. And people used to make those a lot back in the day. I don't know if they were for like ceremony or like toys for their kids or something. I haven't heard anything about that yet.
Yeah.
But
Earlier you mentioned that elderberry is often used to carve different tools. Can you elaborate on that?
yeah, it's mainly used for like instruments and stuff. One of the instruments for here is a clapper stick, and it's just a hollow stick split down the middle, and there's a handle left in it, so it's not split all the way, but it's just like use it as like a drum in a way, and it's almost all the hand game songs are played along with the clapper stick when you're playing hand game. And another instrument from that is a flute. It's just a like a 2-foot long hollow tube of that stuff, and 4 holes for the music part of it, and the end of it is just beveled, so that when you blow into it a certain way, it'll make the flute noise. It's like one of the easier instruments, but it's super hard to play. And I was told to, if you can't figure out what to play or how to play it, to just play the peaks, like the highs and the lows of the peaks, and you kind of just create your own tempo as you're going down the mountain range.
Oh, cool.
If you don't know what to play, you follow the peak of the mountain.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
It's so beautiful
That's really,
and
really
eloquent.
Have you dabbled in trying to make any of these?
Yeah, I have a couple at home, but it's really hard to get the sound to go through it. There's a couple different ways, but like you have to, it's almost like whistling through it in a way. And then you use like, you kind of hum at the same time, like high or low, to add extra depth to your sound.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty nice though.
Yeah.
Once
Once
you
you
get
get
sound
it.
going through it.
Yeah. My grandfather is a insane carpenter, like master carpenter, and needs to be documented like crazy. And he makes instruments of the Bible, and these instruments have never been made before to the point where they play, and he's made them to play, and he made them from biblical tools. So he actually made biblical tools that don't exist anymore, and then made the instruments from the biblical tools, and then figured out how to get them to play. And so growing up, he would always hand me a flute or a lyre or something, and try to teach me how to do it. And I remember the flutes were really hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like you guys would really get along and have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
That's where I get my my artistry and creator energy from, is my grandfather.
Nice.
Ancestral, again, it's innate in you.
Well, and that's how I feel when I woodwork too. I don't do it I did it a lot more when I was younger, actually, because he taught me, and he made me all these really cool like woodworking knives. And whenever I do anything like that, I just feel like that same feeling of like, oh, I know what I'm doing here, kind of thing.
It's meant to be.
Yeah.
I just love the mountain peak aspect, and it just goes
So beautiful.
into like you're harvesting these things from the land that's given to you, and then enjoying it and playing it within the land as well. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
It's very poetic.
Yeah.
And a beautiful thing that you can bring that gift to share with other people in person and now on the podcast. So many people will be enlightened by just these really stewardship practices of harvesting the land in a sustainable way, in a way that provides you with medicine, tools, warmth.
Yeah,
the land gives you everything you need.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you got to travel a little bit, but I mean, back then nobody minded traveling like 40, 50 miles just to get some obsidian and stuff like that.
That's great. Is there any last like words of wisdom or inspirational story that you could leave us and our listeners with?
Yeah, I'd probably just say try to get out in nature more, because there's a lot more to the world than our phones and our houses and stuff like that. It's really refreshing to actually get out and be by the creek, like go fishing, look at plants. It's super refreshing.
And when you're getting out there and enjoying yourself in nature, like, is there a spiritual aspect to your journey as well, like when you're connecting in that way?
Well, I know for sure whenever I take something, you're supposed to give something of value to you back. Most of the time it's tobacco, but it could be like hair, like pieces of hair, certain materials that you've like actually made something with, like a bundle of string, or certain stones that have value to you as a person, like turquoise or obsidian. Could be anything really that's just of value to yourself. I always give an offering every time I take something. Like you take something, you give something back.
So when you forage, for instance, like with the basket weaving, you'll give back as well once you...
Yeah, I usually do tobacco because it's a little easier to get. But sometimes like I'll have like a little bundle of string with me, or I'll give that, or I'll put like an arrowhead real high in a tree or something.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow.
But yeah, sometimes it's a necessity to do that.
To give offerings. I like that. It's very cyclical in nature. You know, you're not just taking to take, you're giving back to the earth. Because
showing gratitude.
And she gives us all the gifts that we need. So bring them back to her.
Yeah. And even harvesting plants, like I like to tell the plants like that I'm making something beautiful with them, or that it's not going to go to waste. I like to have like a mutual relationship with the plants, even in the water.
And they can hear you. I firmly believe that. They're alive and talking to each other, talking to us. Yeah.
Actually, there was one time at Horseshoe Meadows, I was with my brother, and it's like a really dense forest up there, and there was like mycelium all over the ground.
Oh, cool.
I thought it was spider webs at first, but
yeah.
I didn't tell my brother what it was, and he was getting like really sketched out. Like he was like, I don't like this, man. I want to get out of here, bro. I was like, you know what? It's probably because every step you take, all the trees, all the plants, they're all connected with the mycelium, and it's like, it feels like everything's watching you in a way.
Yeah.
And he felt that without even thinking about it or anything. It was pretty wild. He was just like, man, I feel like there's something watching me.
Yeah. There is.
Getting super scared a little bit.
They're watching. But they're looking over. It's awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. I know we're kind of roasting here. But we really appreciate it, and for you showing us this location and
for teaching us about the plants.
Absolutely.
Medicine, your practices and knowledge. I'm so excited to see how you continue to bring forth these gifts to help other people in the valley and show them these meaningful practices.
And carry on the tradition too.
Yeah, it's my obligation as a crafter to teach other people to give it back.
It's a beautiful way of putting it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Seth.
No problem.
So to end our episode, we're going to talk a little bit about how we can turn anxiety into action as an antidote to anxiety.
An antidote to despair is always to take action.
Yeah.
And there's so much hope in this episode. I feel like Seth brought a lot of spirituality and perspective, and it felt like a relief. I didn't feel like there was a huge anxiety into action element here, but there's always something we can do to at least support groups that have been marginalized by colonialist practices, especially around this time of year.
100%.
I don't think this episode needs an anxiety into action. This was just a peaceful episode. But if there is some anxiety that you're feeling around this time of year, with it being Thanksgiving and understanding our American history with basically completely removing Native Americans from North America through genocide and horrific, like, militaristic colonial practices, that's triggering. And if you feel anxious by that, then donate or support this message, support Seth and the Lone Pine Tribe, like support.
And a local tribe near you.
Or a local tribe near you. There are other groups online that you can follow and just understand the perspectives of Indigenous people, listen to them and hold space. And that's how you can turn your anxiety into action. Hold space for the people who have been through way more fucking hell than we have.
Yeah.
At least the average American.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, and also I think you make a really good point. Hold space. We talk about a lot of like coalitions throughout this entire season. Yeah. And if you have a coalition that you are starting for an environmental practice, like, reach out to your local tribes. We saw that with Cindy's episode.
Yeah.
We see that with our...
and Seth's episode too, really.
Seth's episode, and also, this episode, and then also Carissa's episode. So yeah, I think if you're a part of a coalition and you haven't already reached out to your local tribe, please do, and give them some space to put their perspective out there. And also, if you are Native yourself, like Seth said, consider being a Native monitor. Maybe that's something that you'd be interested in and inspired by after listening to this episode.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Planet People. We are thrilled to have you as part of our community of wildlifers who care about protecting the planet for future generations to enjoy.
We hope that by listening, you feel inspired to connect with nature and become a steward of the planet by getting involved and taking action with your local community conservation organizations. Until next time, stay positive, Planet People.
This episode was produced by Natalie Jean Sybil, Coral Carson, and Hugh Carr. Directed and edited by Coral Carson. Theme song by Hugh Carr under the artist name Flama. Thank you, team.